Hello, everyone, and welcome to 15 Revit tips and tricks in 30 minutes. My name's Carolina, and today's presenter will be Julian Nino. So by the end of this webinar, you will have learned something new, and that is something worth definitely 30 minutes of your time. And throughout the webinar, you can ask a question at any given point. You can ask Julian to revisit a step or any Revit-related question. This is your time, so we want to make sure that you make the most of it. And all questions can be asked in the lower left-hand corner. And in the upper right-hand corner, you'll find links to the MicroCAD website, which is full of resources, and we also update there when we have new webinars coming up. And you'll also find our YouTube channel. You can subscribe there, and we post all our webinars there at the end, so you can rewatch it at your own pace or even share it with a colleague. But without further ado, I'll pass it on to Julian.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Carolina, for the introduction. And for those who couldn't catch our past webinar, we are going to go back and revisit some of those tips and as well show you some new ones. And as you know, the objective of this webinar is to share with you how can you improve your workflow and why maybe not boost your performance by saving some time with fewest number of mouse clicks using these tips. And as one of our traditions, we are going to shoot for the timer. We have 30 minutes, so you are going to take advantage of these 15 tips and tricks within Revit. So let's start with those tips. So the first tip that I want to bring you today is applying for Revit 2022. With this new feature, you can control the slopes of an interior on an exterior surface for a wall, which means you can enable the wall assembly and change the layers to display a variable thickness. This will expose the cross-section for a type parameter within your wall, where you can define the slope angle of an interior or exterior surface. So it's pretty cool because you can change any wall to tapered representation by changing the cross-sectional parameter on your wall. And you can update these sloping angles using an instance that is going to override that wall with a temporary dimension. So let me go ahead and jump into Revit and show you what I'm talking about. So right here, I have my floor plan and I have a cross section. So let me, for a minute, just tile the windows. And right here, you can as well see that I have a 3D view of my project. So on the lower part, you can see that I have my wall defined to be tapered. So within your properties browser, you can come here at the cross section and change the distance and change the angle within your properties browser, whether it is exterior or interior. And something really cool that I want to show you as well is that if you want to be more precise, you can change it within your actual view. So let's shoot for 4-degree change. And right there, you can see the change that is going to be applied to your tapered wall. So this is a pretty cool new feature. And as well, I want to mention any family that is hosted within that view or that section is going to be adjusted as well. So you can see it right here on the 3D view. That is going to extend the cross section of that family that is hosted to your project. So pretty cool stuff within Revit 2022. The second tip that I want to bring you is that probably you're not familiar right now, but if you are, that's a pretty cool thing because you probably have struggled printing PDF within Revit. So right now, I want to tell you that Autodesk Revit 2022 now includes a native PDF editor, which is configurable and can be used within the export feature to improve any documentation that you are creating for your project. So when you go to your File tab and hit Export and launch for the PDF creator, you're going to get this window, and it's going to be a little bit different from the printing window, which is going to allow you to actually have a pretty cool feature for selected views. And you can use this export dialog to offer similar options as to the ability to export the visible portion of a view, or you can define it from your selected views and sheets. With the PDF naming rules, you may be able to set up all the information that you want for that section dialog. And you can use this feature to generate PDF file names automatically, which is pretty cool because before that, when it comes to printing, you always want to make sure that you are using the actual name sheets that you want for your project. So with this PDF exporter in Revit 22, is going to offer a familiar and configurable feature to improve documentation efficiency. So let's go and print more, but using the export tool, which is pretty nice in my opinion. The next thing that I want to show you is this pretty cool feature. And I will say this is something that impressed me a lot the first time that I use it, is that you can choose how to display the grid lines in your 3D views. So you can go to the show grids parameter in your properties palette to access the list of levels that you have on your project. And when you go and select the levels of which you want to show the grid lines, it's going to display the additional grid levels. And this setting is going to apply to all the grids in your project, but only the ones that you selected. So you just have to make sure that you want to show them. And the nice thing about this feature is that you can resize the extents of the 3VU using your grips. So you can extend your grip within the 3D view, which is going to allow you to control any annotation visibility for each grid using the corresponding checkbox for your view. Additional to that is when you hover over a grid, it is going to highlight on a blue planar vertical surface, as you can see right here. And within that surface, once you have selected the grid, you can control the appearance in your properties display. And on your 3D view, you can treat grids as the same way that you treat it on your 2D view. So for example, you can go ahead and hide grid elements by category or by filter, or you can use your visibility graphics overrides dialog to display information for your grids, such as showing it on half tone, or you can copy, cut, and paste split grids in your model, which is a really nice feature for 2022. You can snap your elements to your grids. So when you're placing, copying, or moving elements, these grids on your 3D view are going to help you to create a better 3D section boxes using your grid lines. So with this tip, we are aiming to help you to orient so you can navigate with your model easier. So it's a really good feature that is coming with this launch. Something really cool and useful as well is now that you can try a new default pastel color scheme. Previously, when you use your color scheme for rooms or for spaces, it used to be darker with border colors, which can be obscure other elements in your view. Meaning that, let's say, if you're trying to show something on one of your rooms and it's a pretty small room with furniture, sometimes that could be hidden within your model and the other elements in your view could be lost. Now you can edit and customize the scheme to use light pastel colors that will help you with your presentation. So this feature enables users to achieve better results using colorful schemes, and you as well can adjust manually this adjustment. which is really nice, especially for those who are trying to explain different space types. They want to analyze different possibilities when it comes to either lighting, or also helpful for those MEP engineers that want to make load calcs or additional presentations for their clients or for their teammates. Another tip that I want to show you, and this is one that is going to save you some time, is that you can go ahead to your project browser and hit Control F. So if you want to find something within your project and you are tired of navigating to the project browser looking for that specific element, and you just remember a simple it will say word within that element, you can go ahead and look it for yourself. So let me show that to you on Revit. So I'm going to go here to my floor plan. And on this floor plan, let's say that I want to go and look for something specific. Let's say I want to go and look for either a sanitary fixture, which could be a family within my project browser. Normally, I will have to come here to families and slide right ahead and try to find, well, my plumbing fixtures or my furnitures or a mechanical element, where if you just go ahead and hit Control F within your project browser, you can go ahead and try for lavatory. So it's going to right away highlight the element that you want to look for your within your project, which is pretty neat. Additional to that, I want to take some time and show you something that is part of our MicroCAD Revit tools, which is as well the Zoom to tool. And this one, you can see it right here on your ribbon. The Zoom to tool is going to allow you to zoom to a room or a space, as well to a selection. Let me go ahead and try to select Zoom to. It's going to show us an additional window that is going to pretty much show in a tree view all the elements that I have within my project. So I can go ahead and try for some space that I need to find to make some adjustments. So let's try to this conference room. So once you select it, hit OK. It's going to highlight it right away within your project. So let's go a little bit back, and let me try to show it once again to you. Right now, I'm going to shoot for a mechanical and electrical room. Just hit OK, and it should be bringing us right away to our mechanical electrical room. That is part of our MicroCAD Revit productivity tools. Another feature that I want to show you is now that schedules can be striped down. So within your schedule viewer or within your sheet, you will have the option to set and define these properties to your elements. As well, you can define stripe colors for the schedules, which is going to be more customizable for all those users that have really long schedules or want to highlight elements within your views or schedules. Specifically, I will say for either plumbing fixtures or lighting fixtures. And if you have a pretty extended schedule, you want to take advantage of this feature and apply it to your drawings. This one as well, I want to remind it every time that I have the opportunity. Within Revit 2021, this feature was introduced, which is the Load Autodesk family. So instead of downloading and placing the out-of-the-box Revit libraries to your local computer, or download it to another disk where you are going to require a lot of space, now these families are going to reside on the cloud. So the major advantage is that you no longer are going to need a lot of disk space to install and manage your libraries. And a little disadvantage will be that these are not, let's say, the typical or standard families that your company will use. So in some cases, your BIM manager are going to elect to disable this, as you are probably already are going to have your families and your office standard elements that you use for project to project. But anytime that you're trying to look for a new family, or if you want to create something additional for your specific project, you can go ahead right here and load the Autodesk family library. And from here, you can edit them and adjust them to your needs. Next tip that is also going to save you some time is that you have some new features that is going to allow you to do some quick fixes to families within your project. So you can load families by dragging them directly into the project from a Windows Explorer window. So as you can see right here, I have this folder where I'm going to just go ahead, click, select, and drag it to my workspace. So it's going to load it within Revit. And if you want to place an instance of that family, pretty much you can come here to your project browser, select it, drag it, and it's going to appear within your project. So that's a nice feature that is going to save you some time when you're importing and using families on your project. Keeping up with the families, let's don't forget that you can open a family by dragging them directly onto the ribbon. So if you want to edit a family right away, instead of going to your file, open, select the family, look for it on your folders. Let's say that you already have the folder because you just download this family, you can go ahead, select it, and drag it into your ribbon. So once it's on the ribbon, you will notice that it's going to open it on the edit family feature. So right here, you can adjust all the parameters. You can make some changes. And once you save it, you can just load it into your project. As well as you can go ahead on your project browser, right click it, select type properties in the project browser, and you are going to have access to the properties without having to open your family, which is a pretty nice feature that you can use now within Revit. This one is really this one is one of the really useful ones, and one that I really like, and is really special to me because sometimes your Revit is going to be like really closer within your ribbon. So if we jump into Revit, let me show you what I mean. So sometimes you're going to have your ribbon, especially if you use a lot of tools between systems and disciplines. Right now I have architecture and systems. So those are the two that I use the most. But if you haven't customized your ribbon or your elements, you can go to the options. And right here where it says user interface, you can decide to either turn on or turn off your toolbars. So usually I don't use a structural. So with this one, if I decide to turn it on, it's going to cramp more my ribbon. And usually if I want to do a energy analysis, so I'm going to have all the analytical model information that is required for a structural, which is going to cramp more my icons. And sometimes you just have this photographic memory of which element do you want to use. But as you can see, they are really small now. So I really need to make sure, okay, so I need to remember which one is going to be. So with this feature, you can just go ahead and hit on options, use your user interface, and just turn off, turn on the elements that you don't use within your project. For example, let's say I don't use massing and side elements, so I just going to uncheck them and just hit OK. So right now my ribbon is going to be less crowded, and I'm just going to use the elements that actually use on a daily basis. Next tip that I want to show you is going to be great for those users that are working with BIM 360 or they collaborate within their networks. So for collaboration, sometimes you may be having a hard time trying to access your model. So these simple recommendations are going to help you to have a lighter model, which is going to be set your word sharing update frequency to manual updates. This is going to help you to actually be focused on your work and only share and sync your model once you are sure that you want to sync it. You can detach your model prior to plotting multiple sheets. You can reduce the network latency between server and workstations. You can borrow model elements while working on high latency networks. And something that I really like to recommend to all you users, if you are using a laptop instead of a workstation, I will recommend to use a higher wire or an Ethernet cable instead of using Wi-Fi, because sometimes Wi-Fi is going to be slow, and if you have a really heavy model and you want to share it, so from time to time it's going to be really slow. It's going to take some time and possibly is going to crash your model if it's really heavy. So for laptops, you want to disable the Wi-Fi when it's connected to the hardwire connection. And if you have dual connection, this can cause slowdowns for the team, and this can lead to file corruption. So just be careful when collaborating and try to think about this in your models. Cool feature that we have being 360 for those persons that are collaborating as well is that you can upgrade your old projects to new versions of Revit using the Revit Cloud Model Upgrade. This is really nice, and I want to tell you why this feature is one of my favorites. Is because you can test your original file for possible issues. So this is going to give you that option before upgrading it. You can create a report of the upgrade, and last but not least, and this is one that I really like, is that you can upgrade the model without the need for downloading or upgrading the file. So this is going to be happening on the cloud, which is really, really good for you. One of the tips that I like the most, and I always are going to be talking about housekeeping, because your models are going to keep getting bigger and bigger, or sometimes you just forget that you draw a couple of lines, or you bring so many families that are part of your project, but you forget to use them. So I just want to remind you that you can clean up your temp folders. So most of the time, the Revit users or being 360 users uh, are struggling with slow models. So most of the time is because we are creating these backup elements that are going to be saved on the temp folder. So you can go ahead and search for this location on your user name, app data, local, and temp, and you can go ahead and clean out all those elements that you're not using on your project. So nice feature that we have on Windows 10 is that we have a build-up temp folder clean utility built in. So you can customize it as far as go to clean it every day, every week, every month, or when you have really low disk space. So that way you will make sure that have the enough space so your software can work properly. Now that Windows 11 is coming out closer, we will have to come back and revisit this feature. A feature that I want to show you is part of our MicroCAD Revit productivity tools. And now that we are talking about housekeeping, let me show you the tools that we have within Revit. So right here on the ribbon, our MicroCAD Revit productivity tools. And right here we have project cleanup, which is really nice when it comes to those users that has tons of materials within your project and can be loaded within a template, but this is going to create more space within your project and you just want to go ahead and clean it. So you can go ahead and select it. This is just an example of one of the tools that we have, but you can see right here, I have a bunch of stuff that I probably not using within my project. So I can just go ahead, select a couple of them that I don't want to use, and either I can rename those materials or delete them for my project. So this is just one of the tools that we have within our project cleanup. Same with on-place rooms, on-place areas, on-place space. These three ones are the ones that I will recommend the most, especially sometimes you forget that you are tagging rooms. And let's face it, it happens to me a lot of times. I've been tagging rooms on the ceiling floor plans, and then I go back and then tagging again on my actual floor plan. So I end up with a bunch of rooms with unnecessary information. Let me go back right here to our presentation. So this one is going to be a really nice if you have our MicroCAD productivity tools. And this is one of the new tips that I want to show you as well, is going to be the tag enhancements. Let me go to Revit. Right here, you can see, well, it looks like you just rotate your tag, but previously you didn't have the option to do that. And right here, you see, okay, so you have a multi-tag, right? But let me show you like the nice and cool features that this bring to the table. So when you rotate a tag in Revit, you might like to control the actual movement or the precise angle for that tag. So right now I have this tag for the women's restroom, and with the new angle parameter that you have right here on your properties palette, you can actually go ahead and tell which is going to be the angle for that tag, right? So this is going to apply and is going to be really nice for those projects that have different angles and they need to be adjusted as the other architects or the owners require. So this is a feature that you can use. And as well, sometimes when you use the rotate command, it's going to also automatically calculate the value, so you can enter a specific value afterwards if you like. This is a nice feature that now we have with the tag placement. Additionally to this, I want to show you that we have the multi-tag elements. So I'm going to hit a shortcut here, which is TG on my keyboard, or you can go ahead right here on Annotate and tag by category. You can see right here on the top next to tag to category, the shortcut TG. So I'm just going to hit it, and let's try with this couple of sanitaries. You can go ahead. You notice that I just tag one, right? And the cool thing is, well, you can just move it and adjust it as usual. But right here, you can add or remove the host of your tag, right? Then let me hit this one right here, which is going to be, oh, sorry about that. Let me go ahead and right click it, and let me find for it. Sorry about this. Oh, sorry, tag by category. Usually, the way that it used to be is that you used to select two and kind of go right here and try to match it, which was like really silly, right? Let me save my project and delete this old one. But now you can add an additional one. So right here, let me show that once again to you. Select my tag, add or remove. So it's going to highlight the option so I can select a new one within that category. And when I click it, I have the new feature that is going to allow me to create a counter within that multi-tag category. So if you want to go ahead, for example, I see this one really useful for lighting contractors or plumbing contractors, mechanical contractors that need to go ahead and count all the either plumbing fixtures, the lighting fixtures, all those air diffusers and elements within your project before making a bid. With this tag, you can use it for presentation or just to go ahead and remember, okay, so in this restroom, I have 5 sanitaries. This is a really, really good one that I like to use and I like to show to our trainees. And let's go back to the timer. So we have some time to spare. So I really hope that you like those tips and we can go ahead and move to the questions.
Great. So thank you, Julian, for that wonderful presentation. I hope that, it was just 30 minutes of your day, and I'm sure all of you will leave with something new. So that's definitely worth of your time. Again, you can be asking questions at any point, so be using that chat box right now. I do see some coming in, but this is your time. We want to make sure you make the most of it. So I have the first one here. What is the difference with new PDF Creator?
Alrighty, so the difference with the new PDF creator, let me go and show it on Revit. So basically before 2022, when you come to export and go to your create PDF files, you will have a different notification bar with the options to select. So with this one, I will say that is a more stable PDF creator that is going to allow you to customize your sets. Before that, you will have to rely on other third-party PDF creators, such as it could say maybe Adobe or other PDF creators, because the native one from Revit, if you have a pretty big project, it's possible that we're going to sync or we're going to crash. So you will have to go ahead and print one by one of your projects. So with this one, is going to be more intuitive. You can go ahead and select the sheets that you are actually want to print and customize everything with your project. And before that, most of us, instead of using the PDF creator, we will go here to your file and use the print option. So when it comes to print, right here, you can see, you can go ahead and select your other PDF creators. So this one, it used to be like really messy, but right now we have one within Revit.
Great. And then do I need to install the library?
The libraries, that's another cool one. So no, that's no. If you go right here to insert, you can just go ahead and click it, and it's going to bring you right away from the cloud. The only thing that you need to have is your subscription and your actual username. Just log in and you can have access to this library. And it's really cool because you're going to save disk space as well on your computer.
Great. So do the MicroCAD productivity tools cost additional money, or are they included if we buy our license through MicroCAD? So I can actually take that question, Julian.
Yep.
The tools are $299. If you think about it, it's like less than $1 a day. And not only does it come with these tools, but it additionally comes with advanced support. So anytime that you call in and have a technical problem, you will get an average response rate around 40 minutes, and we'll get you up and running. Any CAD issue you may have, will get you going. So you get two things, not only the Revit tools, but also that advanced support, which is great. And if you do buy, you already have a few licenses with us, we can come up with a good deal for you. So yeah, but it's $299, so not too bad. For the full year, it really has you covered. And again, you guys can ask any tool related questions. It can be anything Revit related. You know, Julian's our expert here. So anything that comes to mind, it could be something that you saw in this webinar or just a question that you have day to day. Ask anything, but we do have a few more here. So how often should I clean up my temp folder?
Oh, Carolina, and let me remember something to the people that are watching us. They
Yep.
are not only for Revit, but we also have tools for MicroCAD and Civil 3D.
Yep, for AutoCAD and Civil 3D. So, and if you have the full AEC collection, you can get up to 2 tools for the same price, I think. So that's also great.
Alrighty, and for your question, how often? Well, we do recommend it to do it on weekly basis if you are really a heavy user of AutoCAD or Revit, because you are going to be end up with a lot of temporary files. But if you want to do it daily, that is going to improve your equipment performance and is going to help with the graphics as well within your project. Specifically, as I mentioned, if you use CAD, BIM, or graphic design software, because so from time to time we end up using as well these type of softwares who also create additional temp files within your computer. So we will say weekly should be good.
Great. Okay. And do I need to create the grids on the 3D view?
No, actually no. Let me go to Revit and let me go to a 3D view. So you can see right here that the actual grids are being displayed. The only thing that you need to do is go and hover your properties palette, and right here where it says show grids, usually all of them are turned off like this, but you can go ahead and go and select the grids that you want to show. For example, let me just show level 2 and level 3. So right here you can see it's going to show me just level 2 and 3 grids. And you can go ahead and just use them as you do on your actual floor plans.
Great. And then the final question here, where can I get the tools you showed? So I'll take this one as well. You can contact your Autodesk rep or you could contact me. Maybe Julian, you want to go to the next slide with my info? So right here at the bottom, you can take a screenshot of this. So that's my phone number and that's my email as well. If you already have a rep here at MicroCAD, you know, your rep can create a quote for you. If you have their contact available, reach out to them. If not, you can just reach out to me and I'm happy to kind of send you more information on it as well as a quote. Again, it's only $299 for the full year. And again, not only does it come with the tools, but also with advanced support. If you ever have any CAD issues, we're here to help you as well. So that's kind of it for now. As for the upcoming webinars, we do have 15 AutoCAD tips and tricks coming up next week, January 20th. And we also have an Enscape webinar. Enscape is this great software that actually plugs in with Revit. It's real-time rendering that really helps with if you're kind of working with clients and you want to help with the visualization process, nothing is a better tool, in my opinion, than Enscape to do that. If you want to stay competitive with other firms, the closer you get to the best presentation for clients, the more successful you'll be in the long run. So that's great. And Enscape's actually pretty affordable as well. So definitely worth your time to learn a little bit about that. That's January 26th. Okay, and then, so that's kind of it. Do you maybe want to go to the next slide?
That's it, Carolina.
That's it. Okay, great.
Yep.
Well, thank you everyone who joined the webinar today. Again, you're kind of leaving today learning something new, which is always what matters. And we do have those following webinars coming up, so we'd love to see you attend those. You can register at the MicroCAD website or just stay up to date. So thank you so much, Julian, and thank you all for our attendees. That wraps up this webinar.